Everything around you was invented by someone no smarter than you. And the craziest part? You can change all of it today. But there's one detail almost no one talks about, and that's what separates the creators from the consumers. Have you ever stopped to realize that everything you call real life was invented by someone? The laws, the customs, the objects, even the ideas you believe are unchangeable, were all made by regular people. People with fears, doubts, limitations, just like you. But instead of accepting the world as it was, they decided to reshape it. And that might be the biggest secret no one ever told you. The truth is, the world isn't a rigid structure. It's more like an unfinished sketch. Social rules, careers, success standards, all of it is way more flexible than it seems. The problem is that most people live inside a system they inherited, never questioning its foundations. But those who realize this understand they can actively participate in shaping reality. They can create tools, brands, stories, or even entire worlds from scratch. So here's the question that really matters. Why keep following someone else's script when you can write your own? The answer lies in something almost no one notices at first glance, but once you see it, everything changes. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Have you noticed how fear always shows up right before you're about to do something important? That anxiety, the butterflies in your stomach, the paralyzing doubt, it's your brain trying to protect you from the unknown. But what if I told you that fear isn't a sign of weakness, but proof that you're on the right path? Because more often than not, what scares you most is exactly what has the power to transform you. Growth lives in discomfort. Most people freeze when they feel fear, thinking it means something's wrong. But in reality, fear is just an alarm going off in the presence of something new, and new means opportunity. Those who understand this start using fear as a compass. If it scares you, it's probably worth exploring. The world's greatest creators aren't the most confident. They're the ones who act while still shaking. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action despite it. And maybe that's exactly where you are right now, with a deep desire to create, but stuck in the what if it goes wrong? The real question is, what if it goes right? But to find out, there's a step even more important, one that fear tries to hide. And that's what we'll reveal in the next part. With AI everywhere, almost anyone can create anything. Posts, videos, art, writing, all with just a few clicks and zero experience. But that raises a crucial question. If everyone has access to the same tools, what makes a creation stand out in all the noise? The answer is simple yet powerful. Your vision. The way you see the world is the one thing no one can copy. It's how you connect ideas, notice details, feel things. That doesn't come from a course or a tutorial. It comes from your lived experience, from the way you interpret a film, a conversation, a seemingly ordinary moment. That unique perspective is what turns something common into something unforgettable, and that's where the magic begins. When you understand that tools are just the medium, the real value is the vision behind them. But vision doesn't show up fully formed. It needs to be nurtured, tested, refined. And in the next part, you'll see exactly how to do that. Think of your favorite movie. Now try explaining why it hit you so hard. It wasn't just the script or the effects. It was how it made you feel. That's not about technique. It's about vision. The director's ability to turn emotion into image, silence into tension, detail into meaning. That's what separates good from unforgettable. The truth is, technique alone will never be enough. You can master every tool, follow every formula, use the best equipment, and still make something no one remembers. Because what sticks in the memory isn't perfection, it's authenticity. The soul, the intention, the point of view behind it. That's why so many big-budget projects flop while simple creations go viral. It's not about doing more or even doing better. It's about doing it your way. And if you still think you need to find your artistic vision first, breathe. Because in the next part, we'll show how that vision starts to reveal itself. One creation at a time. Every time you make something, you're putting a piece of yourself into it. even if you don't realize it. Your taste, your references, your choices, they all show up in your work. It's like a mirror. The more you create, the more clearly you see yourself. It's not just about producing, it's about understanding yourself. Creating is, at its core, a way of discovering who you are. Over time, certain patterns begin to emerge. A color you always return to, a rhythm you love, a theme that keeps chasing you. These aren't random. They're the fingerprints of your creative identity, forming. But for them to appear, you have to keep creating, even if you're unsure, even if you feel like you don't have a style yet. And maybe that's the greatest gift of the creative process. It reveals more about you than you could ever imagine. But for that to happen, you have to embrace the sketch, the unfinished, the imperfect. Because it's in that space, between what you think and what you make, that your signature begins to form. And in the next part, we'll talk about why sharing it, even before it feels ready, might be the most important step of all. A lot of people hold on to their ideas, waiting for the perfect moment. They think they need to be ready, with everything polished, approved, flawless. But that obsession with perfection is exactly what kills originality. What seems too small to you might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And sometimes it's the imperfect that hits the deepest. Creating is a conversation, not a test. When you share something authentic, even if it's not finished, you invite others into your world. And that's where real connection happens. People don't connect with perfect ideas, and they connect with human truths, with what feels real, even if it's a little rough around the edges. That's why waiting can be riskier than trying, because while you're holding back, someone out there is waiting for exactly what you have to say. And you never know the impact a simple creation might have. In the next part, you'll see how even your first step, no matter how awkward, can be the start of something much bigger. Bigger than you imagined. Everyone thinks they need experience before they start, but sometimes starting is what brings the experience. The original creator's most impactful video came when they knew nothing about editing, scripting, or filming. And still, it connected the most with people. Why? Because it had something no technique could teach: truth. A sincere desire to share a vision, however possible. That first attempt carries a kind of energy you can't replicate. Discovery. It's when you're not yet tied to formulas, not shaped by expectations. It's raw, it's honest, and that's why it's powerful. Don't underestimate the value of that first impulse, because it can open doors you didn't even know existed. So the question isn't, am I ready, wildest? It's, what am I waiting for? You'll never have all the answers before you act, but every creation teaches you something no theory ever could. And in the next part, you'll see, you don't have to do this alone. There's an entire community ready to help bring your vision to life. The creative journey can feel lonely, but it doesn't have to be. There are thousands of people out there facing the same doubts, blocks, and discoveries you are, and many of them are willing to share what they've learned. No filters. Sometimes all you need is the right push, a well-taught lesson, an exchange of ideas. Because learning from someone who's already walked the path makes the way lighter. Platforms, like Skillshare, for example, created spaces where creativity and learning go hand in hand. There you don't just find techniques. You find vision, context, real-life insight. It's where knowledge turns into skill, and confusion becomes clarity. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or already have experience. There's always something new to discover. And the more perspectives you expose yourself to, the sharper your own becomes. So if you feel stuck, maybe it's time to connect. To step out of the bubble and talk to people who've been where you are. Sometimes one class, one insight, one conversation changes everything. But that only happens when you allow yourself to learn. And now that you know this, there's just one step left. Use your unique vision to shape the world. You don't have to change the whole world, but you can shift the way someone sees an idea, a feeling, a possibility. And that's already huge. Your vision, with all its flaws, doubts, and truths, is a missing piece of something bigger, something that only begins to exist when you choose to share it. In the end, it's not about being the best or winning some invisible race. It's about having the courage to show what only you can see, because no one else has your perspective, your story, your way of connecting the dots. And what feels small to you might spark something massive in someone else. That's the power of creating with purpose, inspiring, without knowing how far it might go. So don't wait any longer. Don't wait for the perfect setup, the genius, idea, the now it's time. Go with what you have in the way you can. Because while you hesitate, the world keeps spinning, waiting for your vision. The time is now. Create, and make it yours from start to finish. In the end, it all comes down to this: sharing what only you can see. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Because your vision, no matter